Hello, hello. Welcome to A Dreamer's Experience Conquer the Chaos. My name is Sean Laurie, and as a father of four and an entrepreneur, I want to give you guys different insights and tools from either myself, my wife, or others that will not only help you individually, but also help you as a parent conquer the chaos.
And hey guys, my name is Tiffany Lowry. I am co hosting alongside my husband. I do wear many hats, and the two that I am the most proud of is being a mother and a wife. We have had many chaotic moments on this journey as a family, and that's why I'm excited to be here with you guys to, just share some of that.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. We have this amazing guy, Jason Henry. Um, Man, he has so many different hats. He's an artist. He's a poet. He's in ministry. He's a wonderful husband, father, friend. You name it, he pretty much does it all, right? So um, I'm just super excited to have him on, man. And so what I like to do, Jason, I like
Yeah.
to do a little icebreaker just to get the little bit of attention.
Okay. Let's do it.
Especially since we having such a deep, serious conversation. I feel when we're going to dive into in a
Yeah.
minute. But when you have like time to yourself, obviously you're working, you're helping the kids, spend time with wifey. What is something you like to do? What is one of your favorite things you like to do when you have some you time?
Okay. It's two things. I'm gonna give you two because I love you guys so much. First off, thank you for allowing me on the podcast. You know, I love the Lawrys, great friends of ours. So because of that, I'll give you two things. One is battle rap. The URL battle rap. I'm a fanatic.
Okay.
You know, I'm very in tune to the subculture of battle rap from hip hop. So that's probably one of my me time things. But the other thing, man, as you know, I'm a gym rat. Not even just the gym, just I'm in these streets as well. I love to run. Running is my passion, and it actually coincides with just our topic today in mental health. Because the me time for me is definitely partly entertainment, but also self-care, and entertainment could lean into self-care, but to be more intentional, some things like running for me is probably one of the best things that I can do to just recharge myself and come out of it ready for the kids, ready for, my beautiful queen and whatever else the world has,
Yeah. I like that.
Yes,
I like
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
Making me look bad because I've been slacking and working out, but I like that.
So good. So good.
Yeah. That's great. I guess real quick too, is there a favorite thing you like to do?
My nails.
Your nails.
The nail salon. Yeah.
There we go.
Every 2 to 3 weeks. So
yeah.
Hey.
I guess mine would be anime. I'm with that, anime.
There we go.
And basketball when I get a chance to play things like that. So So definitely going to dive into this topic, guys. Where we're diving in. Last week, right? We dove into just the mental struggles that mothers deal with, and wifey was so kind to really just open up and share certain things. So we're going to do things a little bit different. Wifey's going to be asking me and Jason the questions. And so this is going to be I'm sure interesting and wonderful, enlightening for people that's listening or watching, just because we're going to dive into some pretty deep things.
Yeah.
So I'll let wifey take the lead.
Awesome.
I am nervous and excited.
Yes. All good.
All right. So, first question, y'all. What is something you saw or experienced growing up that may have had an impact on you that you maybe didn't realize until you became a father?
I'll let Jason guess.
Yeah.
I'll pass the baton.
Man, that's a great question. I actually am trying to narrow it down right now, but things I saw as a child that has now impacted me as a father. I would say just a brief history on myself. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, different areas, West LA, South Central, Watts, all the way to Long Beach. So I lived, you know, all around the county or whatnot. And I would say one of the things that I've seen is, okay, first I'll ask this question.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of podcast where we can just really be real?
Be real.
Yeah.
Be real.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
That's
I mean,
all
I've been tuning in. I'm enjoying the content and everything, but y'all know how I do. And you know, I only know how to go one way.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
One of the things I've seen, I would just say with my dad is just how we can get so caught up in the things that are going on in society, get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, to where it's like, I got to provide, I got to do this, to the point to where we think that kind of supersedes the time we spend with our kids, the quality time, investing in our kids. For me and my wife, we have an interesting story to where, you know, we were in a home, we were trying to pursue that American dream of let's purchase a home and all of that. We purchased a home in Paris. And as things transpired and more kids came and all of that, we had to make the big decision to sell our home and move to an apartment. And for us, that was a huge step towards what I was just talking about, a huge step in being breaking the cycle in parenting in our homes. My wife grew up without parents. She was adopted by her grandmother. I grew up with parents, but they were amazing. They did the best they could, but they were very busy, you know. So for my wife and I, we really wanted to do our best to be present for our kids in a way that we never had. And that involves, like, I'm literally tracking how much time am I spending with my kids a day, you know, because I'm a firm believer that you can have the big house, you can have the nice cars and those things, but if your kid is not getting you, none of those things are really going to yield the fruit that we would want to see in our kids ultimately when they become adults. So I've seen that many times growing up. Many of my friends, their parents were at work, and we got a chance, honestly, to do God knows what, you know, a lot of things unsupervised. So the lack of supervision in children is what I seen growing up. My parents, if they watch this, they may find out now, but I was catching a Metro Rail ditching school in the 6th and 7th grade, you know, and no one knew, you know. So breaking that cycle in my family has been one of the things that my wife and I have really honed in on. And yeah, I'll end it with that. Sean, what's up with you, man?
Well, I was saying, did you have something you want to say? No. Okay, for a second, it looked like you did, so I was like,
I mean,
yeah, cut me off anytime.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. You know, I was the same way. You know, my mom was a single mom. I didn't really see my dad too much.
Sure.
You know, and I pretty much got away with a lot. And she worked for the post office, so she would work long hours. And you know, high school, I was wilding out. In school, catching the bus. One way. And so I could definitely relate.
And just real quick on that, isn't it interesting how I feel like, and this is where we feel like each generation feels like society is getting worse, you know, as far as safety, you know, but I hate to sound like the old head, but it's just like, the things I was doing at my daughter's age, you know, she's about to be 11 in 2 weeks, my oldest. So the things I was doing at 11 years old, you know, I lost my virginity at 11 years old, right? The things I was doing at 11 versus because I was unsupervised, versus my daughter now, it's like, wow, I could never imagine her having the freedom that I had. Like, this is just it's a different world. You know, I got into chaos and toxic situations, but I can only imagine what she would be getting into with the internet and whatnot.
I know. I think we talk about that a lot. Like Camille, you know, she's 16, you know, about to be 17, and you know, at 16, you know, I think 16, I was pregnant with her. So, you know, and the fact that she manages, you know, to stay grounded, you know, it's a blessing for sure.
It is huge, and that's only because of what you guys are putting into her. You know, and investing into her, your time, your presence. Our presence is a present. You know,
absolutely. It's dropping the bar. Let me. But yeah, as far as me, how did it affect me? You know, I've shared this before on previous episodes, but obviously I call it like part-time dad because I didn't see him that much. And our relationship wasn't the greatest, and so. My mom, she did marry, but she's married now, but previous marriages, like they didn't work out. So it was never a consistent male figure besides my grandfather. And so for me, you know, as I got older, especially when I became a father, I wanted to make sure that I'm constantly in their lives, right? That they can never be like, where is dad? You know?
Exactly.
And even now, right? If I'm gone, if I go to the grocery store at like 9:30 at night, my oldest would be like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "What?" You know, there's been times, you know, before we moved when we was in Cali, go hang out or something like that with some of my friends. You know, she wouldn't go to sleep until I came home.
Wow.
You know,
wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's that I think is very key for me. Just growing up, realizing that, you know, I didn't have that. And also for me, just because I saw all the different issues at time, I told myself as a father, I wanted to have my kids with one woman and the woman I was going to marry.
Sure.
That's something that I, you know, personally wanted for myself, just because, again, that's something I didn't see. And not that, you know, not that my mom or dad are bad people because of it. Life happens.
No.
Of course, you know, but it's just one of those things for me. I said, I want that stability. That's what it came down to, right? Like, might move different places, you know, get a different car, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, I know my family is the same, right? I know that they're growing. I know that they're going to love me, but I know regardless the ups and downs, they're going to be able to fight through it. You know? And so for me, that's why I wanted that, because I know marriage is hard work. I know being a father is hard work, right? But I knew once I became a father, I knew as well, like I wanted to have that family, not that, because I grew up in a blended family. Not that it's bad, but I didn't. If I could help it, I didn't want to have that, right?
Of course.
So many more questions, so many more layers that comes with that, because I grew up with that, so I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
that's good. That's good. That's good.
Question 1.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to question 2. What are some things that have triggered anxiety or depression for you? You know, has it been like work, finances? You know, there's so many different things I feel like nowadays that we get so anxious about, and that, you know, can trigger those things. So
yeah. You want to go, Sean?
No, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off, brother.
No. I would say, once again, it's multiple, because that, you know, that question is multifaceted. So it's multiple things I can think of with it, but I would narrow it down to social media. Uh-oh. Somebody just clicked off right now, like, come on, man. We watching this on social media, bro. You know, but yeah, for me, I would say social media. I've been off social media, just taking a break from it since last September, so a couple of months. And I got to be honest, I felt it was triggering, to mental health issues in myself. But I didn't really understand that in its totality until I got off of it. I just so what happened is you go on your iPhone and you can go to the screen time setting, and you can see how long you're spending on different apps.
Yeah.
So imagine dealing with, as I have dealt with throughout my life, but anxiety, depression, those different things, particularly around the COVID time, it was anxiety. The panic attacks started back up with me. And I just was, I come from a Christian worldview. So the first thing I am inclined to do is talk to God about it, and also consult others in my life that are like-minded in that respect. But I just was saying I need to eliminate things because I'm just feeling overwhelmed all of the time, right? Mm-hmm. And as I went on the screen time setting, I saw like, okay, you spent 10 hours or 15 hours this week on Instagram, or on Facebook. And for myself, that, is not running a business or anything. It's like you have to ask yourself, why am I here? And I didn't have a sufficient reason to be there that long. So it made sense that it correlated with the overwhelming feelings, because it's like I'm exposing myself to so much more content, so much more of what's going on in the world. I can only imagine what's going on right now, on March 27th, 2022 with Russia and Ukraine and the war and everything, everything that's transpiring in the world, all the way to Kanye and Kim, right? Yeah. It's so much that we are inundated with, and you have to ask yourself, okay, how much of this is contributing to the anxiety that I feel? So personally, for me, I said, if it's one thing I'm not cutting out family time. I'm not cutting out running. I'm not cutting out battle rap. I'm not, you go through the priorities of what can you cut out and what you can't and what you can. And for me, it was social media. And honestly, it's not to say that everything is perfect now. I don't have any struggles. It's just to say it has decreased substantially, since eliminating that particular piece. And I will be back on there. But I think going on a fast, if you will, or a sabbatical, if you will, from certain things that you can go on that from, is helpful, and it will be less triggering for those of us in society that are inclined to, mental health issues such as myself.
I like that. Honestly, for me, that's like you said, there's so many different things, right? Yeah. The anxiety, depression, social media for sure is a huge one that can definitely trigger. For me, is actually, I would say, just trying to juggle everything as a father at times. That really is difficult because, for example, right, we moved out of state, right? Yeah. And obviously I have my business, but now trying to get the people to know about my business out here.
Yes.
Right? In Texas, right?
Oh yeah.
And I still have the people in California, which is amazing. It's a blessing and things like that. But it just gets nerve-wracking because, right, I'm used to being able to do certain things. Now I can't do those things.
Yeah.
Right. And so as a man and as a father, you're told that you have to be the number one provider. You have to be, the strong one, right? You can't show any weakness. And so at times, right, balling all that up inside and telling yourself lies, but things that you heard growing up, right? Men don't cry, right?
Yes.
Tough it out, right? Yeah. These are things that still, I've gotten so much better with it, but still every now and then I catch myself, right, battling with that as a father, because I'm like, oh man, okay, you know what? My daughter wants to do gymnastics.
Sure.
Right. And I'm like, right now we can't do it because we literally just moved to another state. We're still moving.
Still getting adjusted.
Yeah. We're still moving some things around.
Oh yeah.
You know, but still, as a father, that hurts me that I can't do those things, right? Even, you know, again, we moved, so we don't know people like that. So I can't take my wife out, right?
Yes.
Be
Yes.
that example as a husband and as a father, so my girls and my son can see it on a consistent basis, right? And so I battle with that because I'm like, dang, okay, like what type of, you know, it's all these basically things that's not necessarily true, but I started thinking about myself, right? And that's what happens at times. I feel like for me is, you know, you just get caught up in certain things, especially with social media plays a part in it, right? You see on social media, oh man, you know, the the best dad ever, right? He bought, he bought his child a brand new car, right? Or like, oh, like, yeah, you know what? They're 16 years old, and guess what? I already got them property. Like, sheesh, right? Right? So you can see all these things, like, okay, all right, like, dang, and that's the reason why, obviously, too, I created No Perfect Parent because, you know, obviously, yes, I help families, but I let them know, be transparent. I'm not perfect either. None of us are perfect, right?
No.
But again, on social media, that is what is presented, right? It's presented as far as everything is great, you know, and so
highlights,
exactly. And so I think at times it's easy to compare yourself in different aspects. Oh man, you know what? You don't post, but I'm gonna use you as an example. Oh man, you know, Jason, he posting. Look how buff he look, man. Like he a buff dad. Like he one of them dads that nobody's gonna try to talk to his daughters because they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously I'm joking, but at the same time serious. Like that's just different things that I feel like for me will trigger like the most things is just, you know, feeling like and again, I think that a lot of that too has to do with society telling you that as far as like as a man, you're only worthy if you make this much. As a man, you're only worthy if you have this type of house, if you have this type of car, right? And for men, obviously, but like, and it definitely is a huge thing for men overall. But I also want to put emphasis on fathers because I feel like as a father, not only are you dealing with that feeling, but it magnifies. Right? Because you're not like, as a man, you're already thinking about it like for yourself, like, oh man, I got to get this, I got to get that, or you know, I wish I had this type of car, right? And you know, as a father, though, right, it's different because you're nothing wrong with a Honda. Hondas are great. I have a Honda, but picking up your child in a Honda, and then you see someone else picking up their kid in a Tesla, right? And you're like, dang, okay. You see their kids with the brand new shoes every week. Someone's kid, and you're like, okay, like your kid is doing fine. But again, it's because again, as a father, we want the best for our family. We want the best for our kids. Right? We don't want to necessarily like spoil them to death, but at the same time, we don't want to have to say, oh no, not this week. I'll get it later on. Right. And so I think those are for me, and I'm sure other fathers can relate as well, but I think those are the big triggering points for me as a father.
Yeah, man. That's you hit on a lot, bro. You hit on a lot, and I want to piggyback on one thing the last thing you said about we want the best, right? And what we're modeling for our children. The best is subjective, right? Absolutely. And that's one of the things with social media, how it does affect, you know, us as fathers, because then we begin to redefine what the best is. We redefine what success is versus, all right, I'm spending adequate time with my children, you know, in my career or my business, whatever it may be, where my sources of income are. I'm going hard on that. You know, I'm constantly progressing. I'm modeling what a good marriage looks like, you know, being a loving husband to my wife. Okay, so what more do we need to do?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I want to check off those things and then I want to leave it there. You know, I don't, but when you get on social media, a lot of times we do this comparative analysis, and we say, well, if they have this and if they have that, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me, and if they have this, then I should have that too. But before I saw what they had, I was content.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So this discontentment, arises because I feel we are exposed to so much more than what our parents were exposed to.
Yeah.
Our parents would only talk to their coworkers, maybe see a neighbor or two, and then they're looking at Leave It to Beaver. Their generation. They was watching garbage shows like Leave It to Beaver and the Brady Bunch.
Watching Good Times, probably.
Okay, exactly. My mom, I don't know why she loved the little white shows. Gone with the Wind and all of that. I said, Mom, we got Good Times. We got 227. What about all those shows? No, I'm joking. But when we eliminate the distractions and eliminate the exposure to the unnecessary, well, now we're able to hone in on what we had, the cards that we were dealt in life, right? Because everybody, that figure of speech, everybody was dealt different cards. I have a completely different context than you and vice versa. So with what I have been given, I'm going to make the most with that.
Yeah.
I can't make the most with what the next person has been given because I wasn't given that. And I think modeling that as fathers is where our minds and our focus have to be. Because then they'll have the mindset of, hey, it doesn't matter what's going on around me. It doesn't matter what the next family is doing. All I know is I was raised seeing my mom, Tiffany, and my dad, Sean, making the best out of whatever cards they were dealt, making the best out of whatever gifts and talents they had. And they prospered and they succeeded in their own right. And now it's time for me to do that.
Yeah.
So if we can communicate that to our children, I think we would be doing just fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just fine.
I believe that. That's true. Man, that's heavy stuff.
All right. I'm afraid for question 3 now.
Yeah. We ain't even got deep yet. We ain't even went there yet. We will.
All right. So moving on to question 3. So now, like you guys said, you guys have battled with anxiety and depression. So with that being said, what unhealthy coping either mechanisms or, it could be just one thing, have you used when it comes to anxiety or depression, and how did it impact your family?
Woo. That's a big one right there.
That again. What unhealthy coping mechanisms have you used when it comes to anxiety or depression, and how did it impact your family?
So we getting heavy. So I'm like, should I park this? Because this deep out here. Before I get into that, I wanted to also just share real quick. Was it 2017? This was someone answered the question, but I'm gonna even dive back into that. 2017. This is when I was still working at my previous job, working crazy amount of hours, couldn't see the family like that. Still doing that, also juggling the business. And I wasn't happy, to be honest. But I still was working it because, right, as a man, as a father, that's what you do. You pretty much suck it up, even if you don't like to, right?
Yeah.
You work a bunch of hours because that's what we were told to do.
Sure.
Right. That's we think those are the only options. So, because of some nonsense BS, I got let go from that job. And that's 2017 is when I was in a dark place. It was 2017, right? 2017, I was in a really dark place. That's when I pretty much was shutting everyone down, shutting everyone out, wifey, kids, didn't want to be bothered. We also found out that's when we was having Shiloh. Was that?
No, that was
Lania.
Lania was already born.
So that's when. Oh no, yeah, we had Lania. She was a baby, and on top of that, later on, I found out I was still in that dark place, but later on, I found out we was having Shiloh. And I was just really in this dark place, but shutting everyone down. And that's when I had at that time, I still was battling with that single mindset. So we was married, but I had a single mindset.
Yeah.
When I mean by that too, I was just entertaining females. I didn't necessarily step out and meet these women or nothing like that, but I was just in a place where I wanted attention. I wanted some type of escape to feel better, right? Really, these women were nothing to me.
Sure.
They couldn't compare to my wife for me, but I was in a place where it was an unhealthy state. And so a way that, this is when I was single, the way that I would cope with a lot of my issues was to just hit up females.
Oh yeah.
That was my thing. Because I never was a smoker, never was a drinker. So I used to entertain females. That's what I did. And so I went back to that because I was hurting, because I felt worthless, because I felt like I couldn't provide. And I look back at it and I'm like, no, like we was able to stay afloat because God put me in a position to do certain things and to have certain things. But at that time, I wasn't thinking like that, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I was entertaining, or even online, right? Like you said, social media, a girl twerking, whatever the case is, right? A porn clip, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Right? Oh, okay. Yeah. And like, it would be, and that's the crazy part. Like, it literally wasn't, wasn't like I was, getting off on it. Nothing like that. I literally was watching,
just an observer.
Just observer. But it still was wrong, right?
Of
I'm
course.
here, like, I couldn't be doing that. But I was just watching, like, and it was like a relief for me, right?
Sure.
And and I didn't realize how I was hurting my wife. I didn't realize how I was coming across on my kids, just because I was standoffish. Wifey knows me very well, so she already knew like certain things anyways, but it was hurting her, making her some type of way, right?
Yes.
And I had to get out of that, and it was difficult. It was difficult. Was it 2017, or it might have been began 2018? Because I think that's when we found out about Shiloh, right?
Yeah.
It began in 2018. And I still was having my issues. And I think you told me, actually, we chopped it up.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, man, this is the storm you're in. But I'm excited because some great things are going to take place, right? And little did I know, in the middle of 2018 and things like that, things start taking off for me as far as the business and stuff like that goes. But I didn't see that at the time. But yeah, so I wanted to just share that because I think that was another thing that was triggering, right? What I just previously talked about when I lost my job. Because the crazy part is too, I stopped, right, with the business. I put the business on hold, basically.
Sure.
Right, because I was focused on, I need to get this bread. I have a family, so forget these dreams.
Yeah.
These dreams aren't important. Now, again, I'm very blessed to have a wife that supports what I'm doing, and so she wasn't tripping on it. But again, for me, as a man, as a father, forget these dreams. I'm gonna work these 10, 12 hours and say, bump it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's crazy for me, especially, again, I'm also a believer in God. So I feel God removed me from that job purposely, right? Sure. But I didn't understand that. I didn't want to hear that.
No.
So that was triggering for me because I lost my job, because I was getting my identity in that job. I was getting my identity with those finances, right? Yeah. I'm making this much amount right here. This is how much I should be getting. Not understanding that I'm actually worth way more. But that was just what I was thinking at that time. So, but to go back, I say all of that to say the coping definitely for me was social media, sleeping, not eating, which is weird. Like, I know most people eat and they're like, hey, you're slim, you should be eating. For whatever reason, I just have no appetite. I don't want to eat.
Sure.
And shutting people down. I don't entertain like back in the day. Oh yeah, I gotta go like this person twerking, or I gotta look at this video. Like now that's not the case. But those are things that the sleeping and the non-eating and things like that. Those are things at times I still do. Again, I've gotten better with it over time.
Yeah.
But no one's perfect. Those are still some of my coping things that I do.
Yeah.
And at times it still does affect my family, even the sleeping, because my kids want to hang out with me. And I'm like, I just want to lay down. I don't want to be bothered. Right.
Sure.
I'm more irritable. Right. Wifey cooks, and to me, one of the best cooks ever, but she cooks and and I want to eat her food, and that makes her feel some type of way. Right. So even those things still impact my family. It's okay. Well, at least you're not liking no one twerking. At least you're not, looking at porn or hootie. It still has an impact when I shut everyone out.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I wanted to definitely share that with you.
No, that's good. That's good. For myself, it was, similar things. It was a book written many years ago called Every Man's Battle. It's a great read for any father out there. From both sides of it. One side of it being just as someone who would look at pornography. That's myself, and many different times in my life. And, it is what it is. It's funny how the pornography industry is like $1 trillion industry. So that means a lot of money is going into it from a lot of people. A large percentage of the over 300 million people in the population of the United States, and all around the world, a large percentage, but nobody talks about it as if it doesn't exist. That's one of the shallow elements of our culture. We don't talk about it, but it's a toxic thing that has ruined marriages, ruined families. And I would say ultimately warped a man's perspective on a woman, that objectification. And even as me and you, as being girl dads, that's the social media hashtag. But as fathers of daughters, I don't think you can really raise your daughters in the best way if you are a regular viewer of pornography. Why? Because it's going to create, it's going to affect the intimacy you have with your daughter, because you're all warped and you're in your neurology, right? And that's why I stay away from it now, especially after being off the social media. It's not as much of a temptation. Because that's the funny thing about social media. Sorry to go back to social media. They're gonna say, "Oh, well, he had a guy on there that hates social media." But the same thing that makes my wife and I, when we were out to dinner last night and we saw a young lady, and I'll be very brief and concise. She got work. She had work done, and it was terrible, like extremely terrible, And as I walked by, I saw her on the phone. You know what she was on? Social media. I wonder if there's a correlation, But the same thing that on social media that makes a man lust and is just a trigger there for a man to lust, because of all of the different things that even your friends post. We're not even talking about strangers yet. You're not even talking about the explore page on Instagram, but your friends, it's like, oh my God, come on. You got to control your eye gates. But the same thing that makes a man do that is the same thing that makes a woman want to go and get, these outrageous procedures done, that in some cases, if you don't have enough money, is detrimental to their health. So we all are succumbing to, the ethos of our culture, which is always appear the best, always appear like you have everything in order, always appear like your body is what society calls perfect, So to answer the question, pornography is definitely one. But I would say, like you said, is we look at pornography like, oh, that's the worst thing that can possibly happen. But I feel as if my family was even more affected when I was in deep depression and I was in isolation. You know, I wanted to isolate myself. I wasn't cultivating healthy friendships outside of the home. I wasn't. I was in the home, but I was repeating that cycle from my father, which my father was always there up until like the 11th grade when my parents separated. But other than that, my dad was always in the home with us, and he was always there. But I felt that as I look back on it now, like I wonder if he dealt with depression, you know, because he, you know, I feel like he dealt with isolationism, which is like I want to pull away from everyone else to go to whatever this safe place is in my mind, and I'm not able to engage. I'm not able to be present. I'm succumbing to neglect of my kids, of my family, because I just can't take everything the world has to offer. And, you know, when it's a book called The 5 Love Languages, many people, you know, have read that book, and mostly people on this that are hearing probably have heard of it. But speaking your spouse's love language, speaking your kids' love language is huge because people are not going to feel loved the way you think. Oh, well, I worked, I provided food. That was my dad's perspective. Like, you guys aren't starving, so obviously, you know, I love you. Why would I have to tell you? Why would I have to spend time with you? Why would I have to talk you through, you know, puberty and everything you're going through in life? You know, why would I have to talk you through it when I'm providing? Right? I'm providing. And I ventured into that. And that's the crazy thing. The very thing that I said I would never do, and the thing that I hated, one of the things I hated about my childhood was not being intimate with my dad, not having him kiss me on my forehead, you know, as a young man, you know, and give me that embrace that would provide the emotional security that I was yearning for. I actually ventured into that. And I believe that was one of the most toxic periods of my life because it wasn't just about me. You know, I had toxic periods before I was married, before I had kids. But like once you get married and have kids, it's like, you know what? What I'm doing in my life is not just affecting me; it's affecting everyone around me. Because now they're in the deficit. You know, that we put our kids and our spouses, if we are married, we put our kids more so in an emotional deficit because of isolating and not prioritizing time with them and not taking care of ourselves enough to be able to give and to be able to pour into them, you know? So yeah, those two things, you know, is what answer that question for me.
We're gonna put a pin on this.
Yes.
We're gonna put a pin on
It's
gonna be part 1. I know y'all probably like, what's next? Part 1. So we will have him on next week, guys. Next week we will have him on. So
right back.
Yes, right back. So just in case though, guys, really quick, if you haven't had a chance, tomorrow is the last day to sign up to Self-Elevation and Reset Mentality for Better Parenting. Dive into things just like this. So you could text me 254-304-7543. Just text me No Perfect Parent so you can get more information on this, or you can email me at adreamersambition@gmail.com. We dive into things just like this as well. But also to join the Facebook No Perfect Parent Facebook community. My boy Jason's on there as well, and some of his people as well. So, you know, definitely join the community, and we will be back next week, guys. But before, like always, right? I want to remind you guys that you guys are an inspiration, and to never downplay the impact that you have on your loved ones, right? And just remember, guys, that you guys are constantly conquering the chaos. See you.